Council, I would ask if you would cut your microphones on and speak loudly so that we can pick you up online. There's feedback somewhere. Not sure where.
That person that said to you.
Could be. Must be mine calling feedback. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the only meeting of your Lawrence County Council. There is a feedback somewhere bad. Someone could help us out. It would be great. Thank you, Dale. We will try to speak into the microphones as best we can. Before we begin this meeting, it is only fitting that today is the day before Veterans Day that we celebrate tomorrow all those who have fought and continue to fight for our freedoms that allow us to gather and assemble here tonight, here and all around our country. And with that, I've been asked to announce that this county will have, through Kerry Bolt's office, a virtual Veterans Day program. It will be live on the county's website. Congressman Jeff Duncan will be present. The Secretary Grinsley, who is the newly appointed Secretary of Veterans Affairs, if you get a chance to meet him, I think South Carolina will lead our country in the Veterans Affairs movement with Secretary Grinsley, and the Clinton ROTC JRC from Clinton High School will be present. That will be tomorrow. I do not have a time for this. You know the time, Ms. Walsh?
They've already recorded some of it. They're going to put it on the website.
So it will not be live, it will be recorded. I stand corrected. And with that, I will call this meeting to order. At this time, I will invite you to stand for the invocation provided by Councilman Patterson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this beautiful day and this beautiful weather here in November. Thank you for bringing us all here safely, and we ask you to let us go home safely. We ask you to be over us and guide us as this nation is in a point of turmoil at times, and that you give us guidance and understanding. We also ask your blessing over the veterans as we celebrate them tomorrow for all of their sacrifices. Many of them have adorned the uniform and seen things that some of us can't even imagine, and have come home to sometimes not a welcoming crowd. So we ask you to be with them and bless them, and we thank them for their service that they give for us so that we can freely assemble. Lord, we ask you to be with us tonight as we do the business of the county, and we ask you to guide us and make decisions in the best interest of our citizens. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated. Members of the council, you received your packet ahead of time. It's noted that the press has been properly notified of such meeting. Now we will approve the agenda. However, there is an added item requested by Councilman Patterson. So under new business, letter E, would you please add Mr. Patterson compensation study, RFP, I believe is what you said. Brown Patterson compensation study, RFP, under letter E. Are there any other additions or deletions on the agenda as submitted? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion for the amended agenda's approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patterson. Second. Second by Ms. Anderson. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is approval of minutes dated October 27th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
Motion approved.
The motion by Mr. Carroll,
Second.
second by Ms. McDaniel. Any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is reports to council. This time I'd like to recognize Jason Tavener, Lawrence County Disability and Special Needs, for a grant. Mr. Tavener.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chairman, council members, and Mr. Kane, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Jason Tavener, Executive Director for the Lawrence County Disability and Special Needs Board. Just as a reminder, we support people with intellectual disabilities, autism, head injuries, and spinal cord injuries. Our mission continues to be to support unique people in pursuing opportunities while reaching for a better tomorrow, and I'm excited to share one of our great opportunities with you tonight. But before I do that, I'd like to recognize Peter Littlefield and Janice Triple, two of our board members that are here with me tonight, and they, of course, are nominated by council members. We definitely appreciate the board that you provided to us or for us. So the grant, the announcement is an Innovations in Accessible Mobility Grant. We received $30,000 for that from the National Aging and Disability Transportation Center. Of course, I need to read all that. That's a lot of letters, but the NADTC is what they go by. And this grant really has four components for us, and I think it, of course, fits well with our issues in our county. First is to acquire a consultant that would help us through this process, identify a transportation provider, someone to help us do this transportation, to offset the startup funds for the transportation provider, and then lastly, to market to human service provider organizations. So not just the Lawrence County DSM board, but other human service provider entities in our county about this new service provider that we will identify. So why did Lawrence County Disability Special Needs Board apply for this grant, and that we're so gracious that we received? It's really because of our growth in employment. I think I've stood here a couple times and told you about all the success that we've had with our community partnerships. We started probably 3 years ago with just a few people working, and I'm real excited today to say that we've got over 40 people that we support that are working in the community. That is a wonderful thing. It's an awesome number. There's a lot of people in this room behind me that made that happen. But the barrier for them and for us continues to be transportation. Getting people back and forth to work is a big deal. It's hard for us to do. There's no, of course, natural supports for that. So we're hoping with this grant that we can achieve those goals. We have made some progress, believe it or not, since October. We have identified our consultant, Yaffe Mobility Consulting LLC, will be our partner through this process. The grant lasts a year, so we'll be doing this for a year. His job will be to help us find the transportation provider. It's not something we're looking to do. We hopefully find a resource for that. And then he'll help us get connected and start that up. We also have a memorandum of understanding with Carolina's Alliance for Innovation, CA4I is what they go by. I think he's been here. Fred Payne, if you don't know him, one day you will, because he's a networker. Fred is kind of the liaison with that group. Through Fred, Yaffe Mobility, we have identified a potential transportation partner. Senior Solutions from Greenville is very interested in providing this transportation to our 40 participants that I'm talking about. We're going to meet them this week up in Gray Court and talk about options and see how things can go. Things will go. So it's all new. It's all started. The grant success measures for us would be for all 40 people that I talked about that have got jobs to be transported back and forth by a third party, hopefully Senior Solutions. A second goal for this grant, and maybe more important to you guys, is we hope that this model that we established with the Lawrence County Disability and Special Needs Board is something that can be repeated, that others can use to get more mobility, more transportation in the Lawrence County. So we hope it serves as kind of a road guide. Along those lines, that's already happening. These natural discussions that happen when you start networking. CA4I, Senior Solutions, Yaffe Consulting are working with HTI Employment. We went to a mobile job fair they had up in Fountain Inn. They're already talking about how they're going to work together to get people back and forth to work for HTI. They've got a major employer. I believe a lot of it's ZF, and the issue is getting people back and forth to work. So the natural communications are already happening. So we're excited about this grant. Is $30,000 going to solve the problem for Lawrence County? No way. But can it get something started? We hope so. And I appreciate that you're aware, and of course the council support in the past and hopefully going forward with all of our other transportation initiatives. Any questions about what we're doing?
Are there any questions of Mr. Tavner? Thank you, Jason, and your staff and your board. Most importantly, we salute you for the work that you all are doing for the residents of Lawrence County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is our COVID-19 update. This time I recognize our Emergency Management Director, Mr. Joey Avery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'll start off by updating you. You have a memo from me as well as a news release that we had to close the Clinton branch of the library for undetermined time at this time due to COVID cases. And as we did our contact tracing through that process, it eliminated a lot of the staff there just on precaution. We followed the CDC, the DHEC guidelines to make those decisions. And we still have some county employees that are out, quarantined, and we hope to get them back as soon as we can. We keep checks on those folks to see how they're doing, just give them comfort that they're still in our thoughts and prayers, and we're going to keep tabs on them as they go through the quarantine process. And if they should have a positive test, we certainly keep a close eye on them for that. So we'll start with the numbers like I always do. Today, we had 1,326 new cases across the state, 18 additional confirmed deaths, and 4 probable deaths. Won't go into all the details, but there's 784 people that are in inpatient beds occupied by COVID-19 across the state. And approximately 104 of those patients are on ventilators. So we certainly want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers, anyone that has been affected by this. I gave you a graph of a few pages. Typically, I look at 14 days. When I counted up, I did 13 days, so I apologize for that. But what that does is gives you a day-by-day account of the number of cases that we have in this county. This comes from the DHEC website. There's plenty of reading there if you choose to go to, but I just want to try to give you a small snapshot here. And you see on 11/6, we had 33 cases reported. Huge spike. Today we had 12. So you can see the numbers from the 27th of October, the county had a total of 106 cases, and on 8 November, we have a total of 165 cases. So the numbers are certainly increasing. If you look at the numbers across the nation, we're breaking records every day by having hundreds of thousands of cases every day. So it is working its way towards us. We see the numbers going up in each county, and we're certainly not in a downward trend, in my opinion, as far as that goes. If you look at the next page, it sort of shows you the graph there gives you the picture of the graph going up to 165 from 106. Pretty big increase in a 2-week period. And then if you look over on the third page, you'll see the state daily cases numbers. October 27th, we went from 173,000 plus cases to November the 8th at 186 cases, and that's statewide. So the numbers are certainly increasing. And then you see the sort of a graph there to give it a little better pictorial view there for you to see those numbers. And then if you look at the total cases, it really shows an upward trend across the state, a number of cases that we have. So with that said, we still must wear a mask. We still must sanitize our work areas. We still must social distance. We still must do everything possible to mitigate this virus. It is still out there. It's not going away. And I look for trends to spike. That's just what the numbers are showing us, that we will have a spike. We're increasing every day. I know there's some things out there about Thanksgiving and, we want people to have their families together, but we urge people that if you have elderly members in your family, please think of them and be cautious when you're around them with this virus, because we don't know who has it. We have people that tested positive that had no symptoms. So we just don't know. So we got to take all the precautions that we possibly can. And like I said before, we have test sites scheduled. For the month of November, we had test site last Wednesday, tested positive at a rate of 16.6 out of that site. So it's still out there. The 13th of November, which is Friday, we will be at Bailey Football Stadium at Presbyterian College. That's a partnership with Self Regional. 18 November, we'll be at the parking lot in Gray Court at the corner of West Mill and Main Street from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. 24th of November, Zion Hill Baptist Church and Cross Hill on Highway 39. And then we've got a couple other TBA locations that we're working on. And 16 December, we will be at Joanna Baptist Church in Joanna. DHEC has their site open and they're tested Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. each day. So there's a lot of testing sites that are available for the public to utilize. But we have seen the numbers of people being tested going down. We encourage everyone to get tested. If you're out and around the population, it doesn't hurt to get tested. I've been tested several times and I'm still standing here. It's a little discomfort, but it's worth the test. And council, that's my update. I'll be glad to entertain any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Avery?
Yeah, Joey, can you go over those dates and times one more time?
The dates, 13 November, will be at the Bailey Football Stadium on the campus of PC. 18 November, will be at Gray Court on the parking lot of West Mill Street and Main Street. I think that's where they have the farmer's market right there on the corner.
What time in Clinton?
Clinton will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Self Regional does 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Carolina Health does 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The 24th will be at Zion Hill Baptist Church at Cross Hill, Highway 39. And that's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. also.
Thank you.
Okay. Any others?
Thank you, Mr. Avery. Next, I'd like to recognize Councilman McDaniel, the chairman of the Committee on Health, Welfare, and Public Safety. Mr. McDaniel.
Yes, sir. The Committee on Health, Welfare, and Public Safety met on November the 5th to discuss an issue with the EMS department. They were having staffing issues and they submitted a request to change the scheduling to a 24/48 schedule. Due to the cost associated with that, approximately $750,000, we concluded that it was not a good time to do this and we didn't have the means in order to. So as a stopgap, the committee concluded that we would increase the salaries for EMTs by in an amount of $1,500 and the medics and the medics by $3,000 until such time that we can revisit a budget time to see if we can actually adjust the schedule to make it easier for him to recruit staff.
Okay. And that comes as a recommendation from the committee.
Correct. It was a unanimous recommendation to increase EMT salaries by $1,500 and medic salaries by $3,000.
Coming from a committee, it does not require a second. This time I'll open the floor for discussion from the entire council. The question, I have a question. Do we know a total amount involved?
We're estimating approximately $125,000 annually.
Mr. King, do we currently have sufficient millage to cover that?
Our our budget is balanced in FY '21, so this would add to the expense side. Now, we are conservative in our budgeting, but based on the fact that we have a balanced budget, this would increase the expense side by $125,000. And again, we have a balanced budget this current fiscal year.
My question is, we've always had a problem with the staff. And if I'm not mistaken, I like for somebody just to tell me the last time we gave them an increase due to staff. And I want to think it was only 2 years ago, if not 2, it's been 3 years ago we did it. With the EMT, we did. Can anybody tell me that from the community?
Yeah, I can speak to that if you'd like. This wasn't just a guess of, hey, it would be nice to add X number of dollars. Several EMS agencies in the upstate, including one I'm familiar with, did a compensation study. And according to that study, the pay for Lawrence County EMS was about $1,500 shy of where EMTs were discussed, and about $3,000 for paramedics are discussed across the board. So that was the number. If we compare to other agencies that we compete against for staffing, we are under the market, not just shooting the moon, we're under the market for hiring. So if we can't get them as it is, being below the market and unable to compete, makes it impossible to hire people. So that's where the numbers came from.
So we did a compensation plan for the whole county. When was that? We didn't do it for the county, we just did it for the clerks.
Last time,
Who was the last time we gave them a raise? Tell me that.
the last time we did it, let me answer your first question if I may, Councilwoman. The last time we did a compensation study was in 2008 or 7, somewhere around that time frame. Now, we have adjusted salaries in several departments through a multitude of ways, including the annual CPI, raising wages to keep up with inflation. And we did address wages in many departments. In the 4.5 years that I've been here, we've done several of those. But we still may be off on the market, which is one of the agenda items that's been added this evening, is looking at where are we compared to the market on all of our different operations. And based on the committee's recommendation and Councilman Carroll's very good understanding of compensation in this field, he sees that, and the committee saw that in order to get the EMS folks up to where they needed to be in the market in our region, we would need to do this 1,500 and this 3,000. Now, the EMS department is funded through the tax solely for EMS. So this would address the EMS and looking at the compensation study that's going to come up later in the agenda, that would be something that would look at things such as the general fund, where a lot of folks are in the general fund.
You didn't answer my question. When was the last time we gave the EMT, when was the last time we gave them a raise? Other than the cost of living rate.
Probably, Matt may know better, but probably when we did the overall look at the entire county, trying to get stuff stabilized. Actually, I don't think we did anything with EMS, detention center.
I may add something here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we gave everyone a raise this current budget year, less the salaried employees in that department.
Yeah, that was the cost of living rate. But we, at one time, I want to think just about 2 years ago, we raised the salary for EMTs at that particular time because of, again, that we had a problem with staffing.
I do recall we did take a look at it.
I want to think it was just only 2 years ago. It might be a little, difference there. That's why I was asking.
If you recall, we had the same situation with the CDL drivers. We
Mhm.
raised the CDL drivers, and then that wasn't working, so we raised them again. And hopefully now we're at market. So we had the same situation with the CDL drivers. I know that was a similar situation where we raised them a couple of years ago. We were still having the problem with the turnover, and then we raised it again. Council raised it again sometime after that. And I want to say we did do what you're recalling about 2 years ago. We looked at adjusting that pay. But now what we're talking about, based on the committee's recommendation, is actually getting that pay where it needs to be. When we raised it before, I don't know that we necessarily got it where it needed to be. In fact, I do recall now, the moment we made the change, it wasn't maybe a month later, Greenville County then raised it and they knocked us back out. So what we had just done, they killed it not too long after council took that action 2 years ago.
And I think that's what we have to realize. There's gonna be some staffing problems there just because of the past of that. It always have been some staffing problems with the EMT. And I'm thinking it's the same problem in Spartanburg, Greenville, and all around. That's why I know Ms. Carroll is probably saying it's in relation to that it's not at market value. But we have a lot of staff members who not at market value. I don't have a problem if we turn around and look at a compensation plan and try to meet those needs. But we cannot just continue to every 2 years to come back after we've done a budget just 5 months ago and say, we really need to look at this. I know there's a problem with recruiting. If you talk to Dr. Pitts over there, he's gonna tell you some recruiting, this is problems in the teaching area. It's problems everywhere. And I don't think a recruiting problem by adding, it will probably draw down others here, but the caliber of the person that you might have might not even improve. I understand where you're coming from. I have some empathy where you're coming from, but I really feel like every time this happens every 5 months, it's not the way we need to address that problem.
Ms. Anderson, if I may, the request was actually to change the schedule from 20, whatever it currently is, to 24/48 schedule again. 72. 24/72 to entice people to come down. That was an exorbitant amount of money that we could not afford at this time. We couldn't actually implement. So that instead of doing that, we decided an alternative. And I'd like to, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invite Matt up to explain a little more detail if you will.
Yeah, but I think Matt gave us an alternative a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's let Matt address this, and then I'll call you, Mr. Wood.
The presentation that was made on the 5th was for a schedule change. It was the recommendation of the committee to offer these increases to provide a stopgap to retain the current employees that we have and possibly draw or recruit someone who may be on the fence about coming here to Lawrence County versus Spartanburg or Greenville or Greenwood. But the original request was for a schedule change to go from a 24/48 schedule to a 24/72 schedule, which requires hiring 15 additional staff members. And as Mr. McDaniel said, it is a large amount of money, and they did not want to do that mid-budget year, which I understand completely.
How many vacancies do you have now?
Currently, we have 8 vacancies, and then we would need the additional 15 for the 24/72.
And you think that's a possibility to do that?
The 24/72,
Yeah.
based on Darlington County, which is a very similar county to ours in population, and it's a Group 3 county as well, they raised their salaries 50% from 2011 to 2019, from 36,000 to 52,000. And we're not able to recruit anyone. They went to a 24/72 schedule and they're fully staffed.
Any other questions, Mr. Pennington? Mr. Wood?
I was a member of this committee meeting. It was about an hour and a half. We went over a lot of items. And it was a request to go from where they at now to 24-hour 72. What that means is that the person comes in at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, he works Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. And then he don't come back to work till Friday morning at 8 a.m. and work one more day, and that gives them, I think, a total of 40 hours plus 8 hours overtime. Is that right?
They would reduce their work hours in overtime from 840 to 110, so it's a reduction in overtime hours of 730 hours. So basically, yes, they would work 8 hour overtime hours for that week.
I personally, do not believe that a person can work 24 hours straight and be 100%. EMS, you got to be 100%. I can't agree with working 24 hours and being off 72. Another thing that wasn't covered is it would take 14 more employees to do this, plus a 4 to 5 mil tax increase. I think the answer to this is not a 24/72 schedule. The answer to this is putting more pay in the EMS service and pay these people at least equal to what the other counties pay. If we let it right now, you say we down 9 employees.
Yes, sir.
And then we gotta hire 14, I mean, I just don't understand how we can hire that many people, or get that many people. Most of the time, and I asked the question, how many of these people who works EMS now have extra jobs? We can't sit up here and tell a person that they can't work an extra job. But the idea of being off is to rest, so you'll be 100% when you come back in. So if you work 24 hours straight, you got 72 hours to do a second job, plus try to get you a rest to come back in to work another 24-hour shift. And I just don't think that's good for the future of the EMS. I think the answer to it is, like I said, is making the pay equal to the other counties. And when that's gonna have to be done, I don't really know. And I don't know where the money's gonna come from, except for 4 to 5 mil tax increase.
Any others? Mr. Patterson?
Couple things. One, I support this on multiple fronts. One is coming from committee, and I was at the meeting and listened to the deliberation that they had on it, and I support that we need to be on market. It's hard to hire somebody if they can go between those up the street and make more money. It's just the world we live in today. Matt and them are trying real hard, and we've tried different things to attract people, and it comes down to money a lot of times. That being said, the EMS isn't the only problem. Place we have a problem with compensation. I happen to be staring at a report on sheriff's deputy salaries from our neighboring counties, and we're all anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 in different levels of the organization, and that's got to be addressed too. They're all frontline. The sheriff struggles as well to have staffing. I'll hope to address some of that when I get to new business, but I do support our EMTs and our paramedics, and I hope that this increased one will bring better morale to our current employees and help you, Matt, to draw more people. But I do hope council realizes this isn't the only area we have problems, and we'll have to address some of these others as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to table this to the first meeting in January when the new council is seated and the new chairman and the new vice chairman is up here. I make a motion to this be tabled to the first meeting in January.
There is a motion on the floor to table this discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There is a second by Ms. Anderson. The motion to table supersedes all motions, and so we will vote on the tabling. If you are in favor of tabling this motion, signify by raising your right hand. And if you're in opposition, like signs. The motion to table passes with council members Patterson, Carroll, and McDaniel in opposition. Moving on. Next, we move into old business. First is a public hearing, ordinance number 881, Cedar Sticks Incorporated regarding a fee in lieu of tax agreement. This time I will open the floor for public hearing to speak for or against ordinance number 881.
For it. Thought I was about to call from. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to speak, to let everybody know this is a new industry that we've recruited into the county, in the Woodfield Industrial Park in, Fountain Inn with $11.8 million investment and, 80 new jobs. And, I'll be glad to answer any questions any of you might have about it as well.
How many new jobs?
80.
80?
Yes, sir. And
Is
two,
that right away or over a period of number of years?
over 18 months. Yes.
Do you know the salary, though, the salary range?
They fluctuate. Their minimum pay is, the minimum pay is at or above our county average, which is $17.31. And I will say, Mr. Chairman, you mentioned Veterans Day earlier. The governor's office is holding their official release tomorrow and pushing it to Thursday, so it won't be in the media till Thursday. To not take away from Veterans Day.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Are there any others who would like to speak for or against ordinance number 881? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion for third and final reading ordinance number 881.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of ordinance 881, third reading.
There's a motion by Ms. Anderson,
Second.
second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is a public hearing ordinance number 884. At this time, I will open the public hearing for anyone to speak for or against ordinance number 884. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion to form third and final reading for ordinance number 887.
So move to approve ordinance 884.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand.
And that was 884.
884. Did I say that incorrectly?
You said 887, but Mr. McDaniel said 88.
I'm sorry, I apologize. 884, yes. Next is the second reading, ordinance number 886, repealing ordinance number 705, recreational campgrounds. Is there a motion to approve on second reading ordinance number 886? So moved. Motion by Pitts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Patterson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of ordinance number 886, signify by, on second reading, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is second reading on ordinance number 887, Vulcan Land Transfer. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 887?
So move to approve ordinance 887.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion?
I have something, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Brought to my attention by some residents of Breakport, of a traffic concern of that site. I just want to relay it more than anything, make sure everyone is aware. There are 19 houses on the same road, and in subdivisions, there's only 4 that actually touch the road frontage, but, they have had some complaints of traffic. I would like to also say that the school, I believe, uses that as a runaround to pick up and drop off kids. So I can imagine traffic's drastic. Luckily, Dale and staff have been collecting daily number counts by the hour for some other things they're looking at. So we do have a relatively accurate number of visitors, and it averages about 18 cars an hour, somewhere between 174 and 200 a day, daily average, depending on the week. Holidays it's a little heavier, but just to give everybody an idea of what the traffic count is there and the flow of traffic. And there is a slight concern from citizens on that issue.
Okay. Any others?
We're gonna, Mr. Chairman, we have public comment on that. We've got-
Yes, sir, but not right now. On third, before the third reading.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any others from council? All right, we have a motion that's been properly second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of ordinance number 887, Vulcan Land Transfer, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Moving into new business. First reading ordinance number 888, repeal and replace ordinance 177-571. I'll call on our county attorney, Mr. Cruikshanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This draft of this ordinance came essentially from, I think, a committee that Mr. McDaniel and Mr. Patterson were part of. This is kind of trying to get everything back in order with regard to our boards and commissions. I think it's pretty comprehensive as to the details, and would encourage council between now and you haven't had opportunity to go through it line by line, do so both before the second reading in December. I think it just cleans up a lot of things that have been out there and, for quite some time. And I appreciate Mr. McDaniel and Mr. Patterson's input in getting it to this stage.
Okay, is there a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 888?
I get, I'm keeping land on something.
Motion to approve.
Let's get a
Yeah,
motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 888, that will repeal and replace ordinance number 177 and 571.
All right, for the minutes, though, I had a motion by Mr. Carroll first. Would you like to second, Mr. Patterson?
Sure.
I've got a motion by Mr. Carroll and a second by Mr. Patterson. Now I'll open the floor for discussion. Ms. Anderson.
Okay, I'm looking at under 2B, number 7. 6 and 7.
Taking me back to my middle school days, figure out
Yep, Roman numeral.
Roman numerals.
It's a VI and VII.
Okay, keep going, Ms. Anderson.
Okay, it was, I put a parenthesis, you can't hear me?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I put a parenthesis around, starting with, a Tuesday in January, the existing appointee may continue to, right in here, I need for him to look at it, whichever one comes first, or which occurs first, until a new appointee, you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I just thought it should be a set time and not both of them, 90 days or.
What happens though, if somebody makes their appointment on February 2nd, or the first meeting of February? Does the old appointee continue to serve until 90 days? Is that what you're saying?
No. They said the existing appointee may continue to serve for a period not to exceed 90 days after that date or until a new appointee is replaced. And I just think it needs to be, until a new appointee or replacement is made, not whichever one comes first. You just,
So would you like to make that in the form of a motion, Ms. Anderson?
yes, I thought that read better than what, it doesn't read that well, it doesn't have enough
the-
large words in it.
The intent is not to let the carryover appointee stay more than 90 days. That would encourage council to appoint a new person to that position or a continuation of the existing person before a 90-day expiration from January.
Up to 90 days, right?
Correct. That's the intent of that. If they appointed earlier, as Mr. Patterson pointed out, then it nullifies that 90 days.
All right.
You comfortable with it?
Be okay. And I'm also looking at 8, and I think that's attendance, and I'm a stickler for attendance, and I think people need to attend if they're on a committee. But I felt like sometimes there could be, it had to be a real serious illness of some sort, regarding, the 3 consecutive meetings.
Well, I think we leave enough wiggle room, if you will, in there that if the council member who made the appointment is aware of whatever it may be, a medical situation, or there certainly would be exceptions that the council could consider. but just to do nothing and not attend after 3 meetings, it's without an excuse.
Okay, well, I understood that,
Right,
but I got, you know, some explanation
Yes, ma'am.
or an excuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a motion to properly seconded, and I'll call for the vote. All in favor on the first reading, ordinance number 888, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. 8B, request to approve an EMS mutual agreement with a program, EMT paramedic students to complete clinical at Lawrence County EMS. This time I recognize Matt Nittany.
What this request is for is approval of an agreement with Spartanburg Community College to allow their students that are enrolled in the EMT and paramedic program there to come and do their clinical ride time with Lawrence County to get experience and also to see what other services are like as well. We can potentially use this as a recruitment tool as well.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this agreement with Spartanburg Community College and Lawrence County Emergency Medical Services?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of, commission.
There's a motion to approve by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second? Second. I heard Mr. Yance first, second by Mr. Yance. Any discussion? Yes. Liability insurance from these students.
Covered by Spartanburg Community College.
Okay. All right. That's spelled out in the agreement, correct?
Have like a boilerplate agreement. We did the same thing in.
All right, any others? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a request for an approval of Emergency Management Division grant. I believe that is Joey Avery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. This is an annual grant that we get from the State Emergency Management Division through FEMA. And it's a little late getting to us. It normally gets here July, August timeframe. But we just need your approval to go after $61,643.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to authorize Mr. Avery to apply for the grant?
Motion approved.
I heard a motion by Mr. Woods. Is there a second by Mr. Carroll? Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Hearing none.
I have one because, in the second paragraph, whether you mean 30 days or you mean 45 days. Except within 30, but you got 45 days.
Right. I've spoken to the state and they're okay with the delay on getting it. I missed the deadline of the last council meeting. So that's the reason we're running a little bit late.
No, it says 30 in it, parentheses, it says
It says 30.
It says 30 in words, and then it says 45 in parentheses.
No.
It's a typo.
I'll have that corrected before we get a signature. Yeah. I didn't see that. I apologize.
It's on both of them.
It's on both of them. I'll get both of them corrected. Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, this comes from us, India. I mean, it says financial amount requested 70,000. I believe that's enough.
We have no physical monetary match. It's normally an in-kind type that we can use salaries or work that's been done to do that. And just for your knowledge, any match for these grants that would be required is now going to be taken care of by the CARES Act. State EMD will take care of all the paperwork, so Lisa won't have to deal with anything. And I spoke with her today about that. And so on our grant, we'll show no match. So.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion that's properly second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Thank you, Joey. Thank you for those folks that work with you as well. That takes care of C and D. Is that correct, Mr. King? There was two of them.
And there, a separate action needed on D?
Need the same action on the second one, which is the 17,000 that
Okay.
Mr. Patterson was discussing.
All right. So
This
what
was some leftover monies that we were able to apply for and requested.
All right, so we need another council action to approve or to allow them to apply for the second grant in the amount of $17,318.
$318.
And I was over there backwards in my program then, so we did
Yeah.
61,000 first.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
make a motion to approve the supplemental EMD grant to the tune of $70,318.
Motion by Mr. Patterson, second by Ms. Anderson. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, I'll recognize Councilman Patterson for a compensation RFP request.
Sure, if, Mr. Casey, if you'll go up there, while he's on his way. Basically, I'd like to, this will be a formal motion, I make a motion that we allow the HR department to send out an RFP for a compensation study on salaries for our entire organization. And as far as compensation, I'm talking about salary compensation, no, we don't need the full board, everything. We just need to know.
Correct. We don't need a classification. That was done in 2008 and what has been published, but the compensation study has not been done since 2008, and it should be done on a more frequent basis.
So I make that formal motion that we allow him to send an RFP and come back to us at the next meeting with those proposals.
There's a motion by Mr. Patterson to allow the HR department to request through an RFP process a compensation study for salaries for the county organization. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Yes, I would like to request, you said by next council meeting, it would be a request of mine that you would discuss that when the new council takes office in January. If you would be inclined.
Is that an amendment or?
I'm asking you, I mean, it appears to me that it will be a significant study, and I believe that the new council should take action on it rather than this council. But we can handle that next month. That's not a problem. So we'll get.
What's the estimation of what this is gonna cost?
Well, the RFP process wouldn't cost anything. He'll just bring the numbers back to either this council or next council. If he brings it to this council, we can vote it up or vote it down or abstain or make the motion to.
What's the estimation of what it costs?
That's what the study will be for. Right?
Correct. I've seen estimates anywhere from low 20,000s to 150,000, depending on how complex and how many positions you upload or you're evaluating. That would be on the high end. That would be a classification study. If you had to come in and reclassify every employee, redo job descriptions for every employee, we've got a pretty sound classification study that was done previously. So I don't think it'd be necessary for all of that. I think you're going to come in on the lower end of that range.
What was that we called that last compensation study we had?
I believe it was done by Archer, the Archer company out of Rock Hill.
Archer study?
The Archer study, yes. This would not be as in-depth as that.
Study, really never done anything with it.
That's a challenge. Whenever you get information.
Never did anything with it.
Okay, well, this is not going to cost any money just to do the RFP. So we have a motion and a second that properly seconded. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of allowing Mr. Bolton to publish an RFP request, signify by raising your right hand. Those in opposition, like signs. Motion passes 6-1 with Councilman Wood in opposition. Thank you, Mr. Bolton.
Thank you.
Next is public comment. We have 3 people signed up to speak before council. I will call you by the order that you were signed up. Please state your name and address and speak before council. This time I'll invite Mr. David King to address council. Mr. King.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, Madam Clerk, my name is David King. I live at 109 Muskogee Lane in Gray Court, along with my wife. And we're here tonight to petition the council to either reconsider or amend the Amendment 887, which you just voted for a third reading. I have two other people here to speak, Mr. Lamb and Ms. Fennell, and we have different areas of concerns that justify the petition we want to leave with council, and hope that you'll take that into consideration. But what we do, the reason we're asking for this reconsideration is because of the location and proximity of the current collection site for this facility. It's on Webb Road. It's a small 2-lane road leading down to this center. There's a subdivision called Hawthorne Subdivision. Been there for a little over 10 years. It's a mixed group of people. We have white, we have African American, we have Hispanics living here. Homes are anywhere between $160,000, $180,000. Most people in there either retired or they're working. And we feel like with the amount of problems that we have with this facility, if it's being considered to be moved, would there be a better place? I don't know if the county has an inventory of vacant land. I know you want to have Vulcan Materials incur the cost. Now, Vulcan's got a humongous piece of property there, and maybe a corner of their property could be used and remove this center from Webb Road. And they're going to address some of the traffic problems, other issues. And what I've got is just some trash. We made pictures yesterday of the trash that's strewn up and down the road. They just mowed, and you can imagine if trash is not picked up and it's mowed, then it gets multiplied. It's everywhere. There's even oxygen tanks, one tank laying on the side of the road. Cushions off of furniture. People that come there to drop their materials off, a lot of them don't cover their load. They come down the road. Speeding's another problem. We'll address that. And coming 55 miles on a 35 mile in Arizona, stuff don't stay in trucks. It falls out on the road, and somebody's got to pick it up. But what we're going to ask you to do is reconsider this. We're not against Vulcan and their expansion. Matter of fact, that's all well and good. We just would like to see that facility moved off of Webb Road, and they'll address the problem with schools. But so we're asking you to relocate a suitable site. In your ordinance, or in your ordinance, you said that the health and safety and public welfare of the residents is at stake. And we feel like that's certainly in our backyard. And it's in our best interest of our health and our safety and our welfare to have this moved. And again, we're using our own words from your ordinance. So we'd ask you, when you get ready to vote on this thing, please put yourself in a position of where we're living and what we're having to put up with on a daily basis. And when you vote accordingly. We certainly appreciate it. And now I'll turn this over to the two other speakers. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Next is Mr. Steve Lamb. Mr. Lamb, would you like to address council?
Yes, my name is Steve Lamb. My wife and I, Laura, reside on 101 Natchez Court. That's right on the corner of Webb. Councilman Patterson has already addressed the two issues that I was going to speak of, but I would like to add one that has not been mentioned. That is, Webb Road is a very narrow road. It's also a dead-end road. Everything that comes in off of 14 needs to exit the same way. There's no outlet at the end to alleviate any of this traffic. The road being so narrow, the erratic speeding, driving sometimes of the trucks, but of the people that come to dump their stuff, it just creates a safety problem. You can't even walk on the road without, you have to really pay attention. I've had people buzz me so close, I felt the vehicle hit me. The air just brushed me, and if I hadn't have moved, they would have struck me. The other issue is the litter that's already been mentioned. It is just crazy, but the two worst times for the traffic are the pickup in the evening and the drop off of the students in the morning. It is just about impossible if you have a job to get out in the morning or get back home in the evening. And those are my concerns. That it is also a safety issue, but the councilman's already addressed the other two concerns, the volume of traffic and just the congestion. It's horrendous in there. I know it's a small subdivision. And I'm certain that initially, when that facility was first placed at the end of the web, it was an ideal location for that type of facility. Having the Hawthorne subdivision developed, now you've got, originally it was Walmart, but now Dollar General has taken over. You've got a doctor's office and now another business, an insurance company, and the school traffic being rerouted. It really is a major problem for the residents of Hearthstone. Would appreciate your council's consideration to help us out with this if it's at all possible. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Next we have, apologize, I do not want to mispronounce someone's name. I'll just say Ms. Robin.
That's fine. I apologize, my husband's not from the South. Just for the record,
If
my
you
name
would
is.
state your name and address, if you don't mind,
Yes.
for the minutes.
If it pleases the council, my name is Robin Famely. I live at 110 Muskogee Lane with my husband Brian and our special needs daughter, who is now 4 years old this week. I speak to you about the condition of Webb Road on numerous fronts, as both the mother and a resident concerned, as a first responder of my husband and I both as a concern of the condition of Webb Road, as well as a person who pulls a large vehicle and has to deal with the deterioration of Webb Road. On the front where I am talking about being a mother and a resident, the condition of Webb Road has made it next to impossible to bring any large vehicle down there. We witnessed transfer trucks going to and from the center with the roll-off containers flying down the road. I had one almost run me and my daughter over as we were taking our afternoon walk, and it is a blatant disregard. I know we have a lot of family members. We have a lot of small children. We all know small children don't always listen and can get out of your grasp quick. We have posted signs regarding children at play, and they're blatantly discarded by both county employees as well as the residents. Complaints have been made to the school. I know I have personally sat for about 45 minutes trying to get out in the morning to go to work. I bring this to you as a person who pulls a large horse trailer that I keep at my residence. The narrowness of Webb Road has made it where the large vehicles, the transfer trucks going to the box site, drop off the edge of the road. The shoulders of the road are crumbling to the point that I can no longer bring my horse trailer down the turn off of 14 and Webb Road and must go up around Dollar General to get into my home. This is a concern with both shredded tires. Complaints have been made to DOT without a result. The last point I bring to you as a first responder, my husband and I are both law enforcement and are on call 24 hours a day. I say this because we try to leave to go to work. We try to leave to go to calls. During this time, we cannot get around traffic. It is a blatant disregard for law enforcement vehicles. It is a blatant disregard for fire trucks. It is a blatant disregard for EMS. The condition of the road makes it where you cannot pass as you can with most emergency vehicles. I say this in hopes that we can move this site to a place where all citizens can be properly protected and have good roads to enjoy our county and the homes we've worked for. We have been a resident of the street for since 2004, so 16 years. The last few years, things have deteriorated quickly on Webb Road, and we appreciate the council's consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. This time I'll entertain public county council member comments. This time I'll be on my right, your left, Mr. Carroll.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for speaking on that. I'm familiar with the road and that's my area, so we'll certainly look at that. I apologize for your inconvenience on that difficult situation. But I am excited about the opportunity we have to do some projects in the county after the vote. Hopefully those projects that were on the capital penny referendum will be positive for the community and for the county as a whole. And progress is scary at times, but the rewards can really elevate the community. So I'm optimistic about the future of Lawrence County, and fixing things like that is one way to do it.
Mr. McDaniel.
Yes, sir. First I'd like to thank Sandy, county attorney, for looking over the boards and commissions and consolidating that. We appreciate your work. I think it'll make everything run a little bit more smoothly coming into the next year. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. We won't see you again before the first meeting in December. So just be safe. I know you want to see your families and friends, but everyone be safe and vigilant in preventing the spread of the virus. Make sure we're getting tested. And I also like to thank everyone who voted for the capital projects tax. I think it's going to end up paying dividends. And as I've traveled around the state this past few months, I've seen a lot of small towns who are progressing and talked to several other council members in different different counties like Lawrence, who have seen what this progress has done for their towns. So that's it.
Ms. Anderson.
I'm gonna get other things that Mr. Carroll and Mr. McDaniel just stated, but I'm just gonna add on that I wish to give you some happy holidays during Thanksgiving, and let us remember to be thankful for a lot of things, and we thankful for all of you who are in attendance with us this evening. And I think we take whatever your concerns are very seriously and try to make sure that we address them properly. And so I just want everybody to continue to be safe. And I saw an old head out in the audience that, I don't know, it might be a nightmare. I saw Jay Wiesner out there. How you doing, Jay? But it's good to see you.
Mr. Wood.
Just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. Youngs.
So the problem that these citizens talk about is the dumpster. It's, it's the dumpsters, trash, and just a crowded road. Who in the county, would see about finding a different place for this dumpster?
That would be Mr. King and Mr. Satterfield.
Is it a big deal to move this dumpster?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we could search in the area of Great Court to see if we could find another location. But now the question lies is, would Vulcan still fund moving the site? Because currently they're funding all of the costs for moving.
I mean, is it a big problem to move this dumpster?
Yes, so there's construction involved.
So there's construction involved?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
Let me suggest, I'm thinking it's a DOT road, is that?
Council, when I've approached DOT about concerns on the road, they refer us out to the county and say,
Okay.
Webb Road is a county road and the county is responsible for all maintenance.
I was going to suggest, let us assess the road. Let us assess what we could do to make the road improvements. But also let us try to find someone with the school district to work with to see if we can find some different alternatives for the traffic patterns while school is while the kids are being dropped off and picked up, to get more of an immediate relief to them. And definitely we can handle our drivers, and we can definitely do a better job of trying to keep the road policed for litter.
well, this road is so narrow.
Yes, sir. And that's what I said, give us, if you give us a little time, let us look at the road and see if there's something we can do to improve the road itself as well, and what those costs would be.
Well, the county don't have the money to make that road any wider, they just barely get by now.
Right. But the road's so narrow, when the cars line up and park to pick up the kids, it's difficult.
Well, I'd like to see what we can come up with. I know it's aggravating having to deal with trash and big trucks and some cars and what the road is designed for. I'd like to hear some solutions later on, whatever time it takes, but, you know, I can imagine how aggravating it is to live out there and have.
Certainly, I agree.
Anything else? Mr. Patterson? Sure. To address some of the concerns that were brought up tonight, I want to thank y'all for speaking. A lot of people have issues and never present themselves, and if people don't come, we don't know per se it's an issue. One, I'd definitely be interested to see if Vulcan would even entertain the idea of paying for, it's still gonna be the same site in a different location possibly. So maybe that might be the first step to see if that's even an option before we go too far. The road issue, especially the last lady that spoke, I sympathize. I got 4-year-olds, they don't listen. And I do a lot of farm equipment, pulling livestock trailers, big equipment, and I've been on Webb Road, and when cars are parked there for school, you're not getting out, you're not getting by, it's not gonna happen. To me, that seems to be one of the biggest issues from several of y'all who spoke, is the school traffic. And I think they'll have a good idea to maybe work with them to see if they could reroute. As far as the speed, and I apologize on behalf of the county for the issues you have entertained. I hope that Mr. Kerr will address some of those drivers. Since that is a county road and we own it, I would like to entertain putting some speed bumps, the big ones, down through there, which would probably greatly help with the speed going down that road. And then of course our widening's not gonna happen in 6 months, it's not gonna happen, but definitely something like we could plan for in the future to address the issues of the larger equipment, or if Lord forbid, there needs to be a fire truck get down that road when school's sitting there waiting to get out. So there are some issues that need to be looked at, and I hope and believe our employees will do that. But thank y'all for speaking. Also, I want to thank our election office. I think on Facebook, I want to publicly thank them now. If you're paying attention to the national news, some elections in many places are a nightmare. We are extremely fortunate to have the election director, board of directors, and employees that we have, along with the poll workers and rovers that work on election day, to allow our elections in Lawrence County to go without a hitch. I was down in town Tuesday night, and they were locked up, lights off, and gone by 9:30, which is extremely impressive. We have a very, very good staff and group of volunteers who make that go all well. As far as Veterans Day goes, one thank you to all the veterans. Lawrence City has moved their till 10:30 tomorrow morning to the Ridge due to weather. And Clinton has canceled their outside one at Vance Park, and is going to do a virtual program at 11 inside Bailey Municipal, but it's going to be closed to the public. The only other thing I have is Presbyterian College announced yesterday that they have a new president coming in February. Hopefully he will be a great addition to our community. PC gives a lot back to Lawrence County as a whole, Clinton City especially, but Matt Vandenberg will be the new president of Presbyterian College, and we're looking forward to seeing him. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I should have done this earlier. Are there any veterans in attendance this evening? If you would, please stand. Please join me in thanking these folks. Never thank you enough for your service to our country. For that, again, like I said, it allows us to conduct the business of the county, and on behalf of the council, I would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
I'm sorry, the public comment is over. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just want to know, where do I leave the petition?
Right here, Mr. Cruikshank.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just want to remind Mr. Kami and council, I need your signatures before you leave, okay? Won't take but a second. Thank you.
Okay. There's a motion by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McDaniel. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.